Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. Today's video is all of the available surveillance footage and images of Tyler Robinson on the day of the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Now, in this video, we actually have new surveillance footage that was provided to me by Chuck Keeler, who has a YouTube channel and made a video on this. All right, now this surveillance footage in his video doesn't show the full surveillance footage, just kind of shows a shot. He sent me the full clip and I put it in here and you'll see it. So I'm going to play all of that footage together, all of the known footage that I've seen. Maybe there's some more footage out there, but this is what I've seen, and then I'll go over it after that in order. And also in his video he did a walkthrough through the tunnel, etc., and I'll put in there, as I'm describing where Tyler Robinson is moving, different images. It's almost exactly what we've been saying this whole time. And yes, he does go inside the parking garage and then up the stairs, etc. All right, so let's start watching it right now. And here's Tyler Robinson in the morning. Apparently this is at 8:07. Now this loops twice here because they zoom in. It's a little clear. I mean, it is a pretty high quality video here. So even when they zoomed in, it still looks pretty clear because TMZ, or whoever has the original here, it's probably maybe even 4K. Don't know. But here comes Tyler Robinson. They say this is 8:07 in the morning. It's hard to, I'm just wondering if there's some time off on some of the times that people have here. For example, here comes the car at 8:23 in the morning, and that's north of this area, and I'll show you where this is later. And then here he is walking by, and that's right around 9:57 a.m. it says on this camera. Now, is this camera off, and is this just prior to him walking by a little bit later? We don't know, but here's the new surveillance footage. You can actually see him walking there with a limp. And this footage here is around 11:44, 11:45, just before he's seen on the TMZ surveillance footage. So you see him walking down the street, and he's limping. Got the backpack on, his hat, everything he's wearing when he goes by the surveillance footage that TMZ put out, and the neighbor of the house that TMZ put out. Now, one thing that's sort of interesting is when he gets to this intersection, he stops, and then this van pulls up really slowly next to him. See that? And then it sort of pulls away. Now, maybe they were just about to turn there, but it is just kind of suspicious, right? I mean, why is that car slowing down right there? I mean, cars slow down all over the place all the time. It's just one of those things you look at and you go, man, that's kind of weird. But I have no way of showing anything about the person in the car. It's too grainy to see the license plate. There's no way to look up anything other than a car slowed down right next to him and then drove off. And this video is just going to play till it's done. And then just moments later, he's walking on this street. Because we know this is at around 11:48 in some odd seconds. And I think that's exactly the amount of time it would take. Look how slow he's moving. And I think this is just a continuation. I'll show you on the map after this exactly where he's walking. And so I'm going to skip parts like where he went and so forth, because this is just showing you the images and video that are available. So he's walking by the neighbor's house of the TMZ video, same street, just right after that. And this is where he turns to the right on that grassy area, and that leads to a tunnel. Now, I'll show you these screenshots in a minute of all of the locations, etc. It'll all make sense. So just make sure to watch. And then he heads through that grassy area, and then he's going to go through the tunnel. And then here is the tunnel right here. And see, I was going down into the tunnel in that parking lot that I've shown you. And this is him walking in the hallway that the tunnel leads to. So these are all in sequential order here. And then at the end of the hallway, you can go up a set of stairs. And when you go up the set of stairs, it actually takes you out just right next to the garage, the parking garage. You just come out right there, and then you make your way over to the Losi building. So here he is going up the stairs. Each photo. I have like 10 seconds set for each image here. And then after he goes up, he goes to the Losi Center, goes onto the rooftop. And we don't have any of the footage of him arriving up there. Law enforcement has.
Getting right up.
Look.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that.
To stabilize this video.
So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from over, where's my finger?
Right.
From over there, ran in, and now he's right there.
And then he shot, and then he stood up. And that might be when he got there or when he's leaving, don't know, but he does stand up at some point. And then, right here, see that? He's leaving after the shot. He's running at the top of the building. And this is a continuation of that. Now he's on top of the Losi building, running this direction. And then he makes his way to the corner there. And Chuck Keeler actually walks around and films all of this location area, right? I mean, he actually went and filmed the portions that actually matter. Even went to the wooded area. And then he jumps out the roof right there and runs this direction. And then this surveillance camera, this 360-degree camera, will pick him up crossing University, that avenue right there. He goes across the street and then makes his way to the wooded area. They can see all of this, and that's why they checked that area really quickly. I mean, they were all over this video as quickly as possible, and that's why they were able to get and find the gun before he even had a chance to retrieve it. Now you see him moving back behind there, and he's walking kind of slowly. It seems like he goes quicker, though, when he gets around the corner here, though. It does take him a while to get around this corner. In the video that Chuck put out, you know, there's other wooded areas that people claim maybe he put the weapon, and, you know, maybe it's taking too long to come around here. You know, maybe it is taking too long. We don't really know. But he does come around here eventually and run. And it does appear the video is still playing. So at this point, he's running. It didn't seem like he was carrying a weapon or anything. And then this is the image from the Dairy Queen later in the evening. So I guess what would be interesting about this image is that, you know, that means he's still in town. Apparently this is like 6:38, something like that. And, you know, what's interesting is that that means that he's still in town, and I think he was going to wait till it was dark to try to go retrieve his weapon. But when he got there, he noticed there were police vehicles blocking different streets a little bit further out than he was suspecting. All right, so now I'm going to go through the entire thing with a description and show you exactly where everything is. All right, so let's start with this video right here. You see him walking by the camera. And this is apparently at 8:07 in the morning. I think this might be off, this 8:07, but that's what it's reported in all the articles that show this. So we see that, and that location, in terms of the campus, there's a Losi building. He's walking by right here in that footage. Then we go back to this. It's the same footage, really. I'll just kind of skip it past to the end here where he's walking by. And then right there was the vehicle driving by at 8:23. And then this video here is from 9:57 on this camera. Now, does that mean it was 9:57, or is the camera off? We don't really have this footage to know exactly if the time is off or not. Now, here is some footage where the individual's walking on a street. Now, let me show you exactly where this is. It's really interesting. And when I say individual, I mean Tyler Robinson. That is, let me get oriented here, right there. He's walking by on the street, right here, across the street from, I think, this house here has the camera on it. And he's walking by this wall right there. So if we go down to street view, we can take a look at it. See this wall in the background? So he's walking this direction, and then he stops at this intersection right here. And then if you go down one more street, that ends up being the street that you would take to go by this surveillance footage. But that's a pretty long walk there if you take a look at it. And he has to make his way all the way down to there. See? So that street goes down where the surveillance cameras are. And we're only seeing him right there. So we'll play that again. And you can definitely see the limp. See that he just kind of swings the right leg forward. And then again, it is, sort of interesting that the van drives by. Look at that. Slows down, sort of looks at him, and then takes off. Now, I don't know what that is. I don't think anybody does. And then he does cross that street. And makes his way down, and that street is 800 South. So he's heading down right there, and he makes his way to here. And it's sort of interesting because that's where he runs like this. Why didn't he just kind of skip through there and make his way over there and make his way back up to his vehicle? Instead, he ran down here because obviously his vehicle is up there. If you notice, this is where at 8:23 and 9:58 in the morning, that's where the surveillance camera is of his vehicle and himself walking with shorts. So that means the vehicle's likely parked sort of somewhere up in here. I had thought maybe it was down in this area. I think it was right, the area I thought he parked was going to be over in this area. But I think he parked up here because we see him walking this direction, and he's not going to want to walk a really long way with the rifle in his pants. So he's up here somewhere, and look how it's starting to get close to where the vehicle was spotted driving like this. So maybe he just parked on a road up here. Hell, maybe he pulled into there. I mean, we don't really know exactly where he went, but the vehicle does drive by right there, and then we see Tyler Robinson walking this direction. So he's actually coming down like this, and then maybe he eventually makes his way over here or cuts across where he dumped the weapon. I mean, he's definitely walking down the street right where he dumped the weapon later that morning or that day. All right, so let's get back to this. So the next video will be the TMZ surveillance footage. So this is just after that. This is 11:49:34. And given the pace that he's walking, I think that's absolutely consistent with him being here at that time. So let's go back to Google Earth here. So as we can see on Google Earth, he's walking by right here. Makes sense, right? He's right there, slowly hobbling along with the gun in his pants. Goes down the street right here. Turns left, and now he's walking by here, and he's seen on both of these cameras. All right, here he goes. We'll just play the whole thing again. And this is 0 hour. This is where he's going in to shoot Charlie Kirk. So there he is. Same individual we just saw in that new footage. And here he goes again on the secondary surveillance footage that was released a day or two after TMZ's first video. Walking by the house with the basketball court there. It's just right next to it. So if you haven't seen it, it's right here. There's a basketball hoop. There's even the shadow from it right there. So he's walking by right here, and then he turns and goes this direction. So just when you watch it, just realize he turns like this, and then goes through this parking lot and goes into this tunnel over there. Apparently he stands up there at 11:53. So you see him right over here. He kind of hesitates for a minute. I wonder if he was about to change his mind. See how he's right there, and he's like, I don't know, and he kind of walks this direction, and then he turns around, and he ends up crossing over that little bridge. And now here he is, going down the tunnel. And here's an image from Chuck Keeler's video, and here's the steps where you go down. And then if you just pan up to the ceiling in here, there, and then if you pan up, here's a 360-degree camera on the ceiling of that tunnel that was filming him. Just like I told people. People were like, hey, how'd they get a shot of that? And they get so worked up. Everything's a conspiracy. But there's a camera right at the top there. Okay? And then when you go into the tunnel, it looks like that. You're walking along. And so if you take this image right here and see the little holes on the wall, and you combine that with the images that are in this, basically the slideshow here that was put out by, it was only 5 images, but put out by law enforcement. See right here, these little holes, kind of plugs in the wall there. That's exactly what we're seeing in this image right here. So I think there's probably a camera somewhere in this hall here, or tunnel. Yeah, this is just as he goes down the tunnel. This is what it looks like in there. And then, as you get down to the end of the tunnel, probably you take a right, and then you go up these stairs right here. Right? So if we go back one image here, it looks like maybe at the end you turn to the right, and there's some stairs that go up. All right? So these stairs go up, and these all start looking exactly like the images in the video. So each one of these stills is about 10 seconds long here. Let's see, we got the next shot is this one. See, he came from right over here and then went up these stairs. So probably like right from there, goes up these stairs. And then if you take a look at this image, and then this one right here, that's almost exactly the same image that we have in Keeler's video. So you got that. Then we go to this one, and there's the camera right up here that filmed him walking up the stairs, Tyler Robinson. That shot right there is almost identical to this shot. There's the stairs coming up and then going up like that. And then makes his way to the top of the stairs. And then at the top of the stairs, you just come right outside. Now where that is on the map is right here. Let me see. So here's where the tunnel is. So after he walked by the surveillance, he goes this direction, over that bridge, through the tunnel, and it's just a short walk in that tunnel that we just showed you. Goes through like that, and then goes up a set of stairs, and then comes out right here. All right, now from there, I would imagine, he walked down like this. This is what we were saying. Came around, and then this direction, and then in front of the building. The probable cause mentions that he walks on the north side of the Low-C building, which is right there. So walks by there, and then apparently there's actually doors right here, not there, as we see in Chuck's video. And here's an image of the front. Now, if you can see how it kind of goes around right there. So I'm pretty sure that you're looking at it like this, right there, and then if you went around, you could go over there. But there's a door right here. And that makes sense because it looks like there's gravel that goes all the way across there. You're not going to walk across gravel. Here's sidewalk, so it goes in right there. Then after that, after you go through the building, right when you enter, you take a left, and it goes through some more doors, and then those are the steps that go up to the roof. That's exactly how Tyler Robinson got onto the roof. Now, he got up there a different way because they blocked this off, but somehow he was able to get up to the roof going up a different set of stairs. And as you can see, there's the stairs that go up right there. And this is what it looks like from the top. Now, this fence was there prior. So this is what it would look like. Tyler Robinson climbed over this fence and then went back over here in behind this wall over here and crouched down. And that's based on what the probable cause said. It said it went over the fence and then was on the north side of a wall, and that's where he crouched down, and it makes complete sense. So if we go to Google Earth here, let's look at it from up here. He came up these stairs, went over here, and this is exactly what we've been saying. Without even being on the ground, we've been able to determine all of this stuff. So he came up these stairs at 12:15, stayed in this area for a couple minutes, and then at 12:17 he climbed over right here, and then that's when he ran across over here, shimmied over, and got in prone position right there. And as you can see, it's a perfect shot to the stage where Charlie Kirk was shot in the neck. All right, let's go back to the video. So right here, look at this. This is that video.
Yeah. You think he'd already be in place?
You would think that. So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from over, where's my finger? Well, from over there, ran in, and now he's right there.
I think right after that is when the shot happened. Now, this is likely when he stood up after the shooting. All right? It could be before, but it's probably after. Now, either way, that is him up there. That's Tyler Robinson standing up. So now we know that that was a human being. Now, look right there. If we rewind that just a little bit, let me pause it. See, at the top up there, you can see that he's carrying something. You know, obviously that's the black towel and the gun, and he starts running off the roof. See that? Now we pick him up over here. So he ran from right over in this corner, and now he's running by on the roof here, and it's 12:23 and 37 seconds. So this is all very quick. Once he got onto the roof, and after he stood up, after those 5 minutes where he was crouched down, assembling the rifle, he runs over at 12:22 and fires at Kirk at 12:23, and he's already off the roof in the same 12:23 minute. And now it's 12:24, and he's making his way, and he crosses the street, and he goes into the wooded area. And, you know, there he is struggling with the weapon and the towel. And then he eventually makes his way across the street. All right, and I'll show you all of this on the map here in just a second. All right, so he's right there. And if we go to Google Earth, so after he was right here and he took the shot, he goes this direction, runs across over there, goes right to the corner of the low-C building, and then from right there he climbs down there. Then once he's on the ground, he makes his way across over here, over these hills and the grassy area right there. And, you know, Google Earth isn't rendering very quick right now, but this is the wooded area. And apparently it's like right in there, there's some red cones if you watch Chuck's videos, right in there. All right, and then after that, he made his way, however he did it, over here, and then he's running in this direction. But what's interesting is when he came in, he's walking like this. So that means his car is up here somewhere. So why did he run like that instead of perhaps right here going down that street? Now, I guess we could take a look at that if there's happens to be street view on there. Don't know. Let's see if we can go here and see if there's a fence or anything blocking his path. So if we turn around, look, go to the end of this street, Ah, see, there's a fence there, so he couldn't go over that fence, or he probably would have done that. Interesting. So that explains it. There was a fence there. He could not make his way over that, and so he didn't go that direction. It would be really obvious as a flimsy, tall fence, and it would cause him problems and delay. So instead, he ran down right through there and made his way to the street and made his way back to his vehicle. And we'll show that right now. That portion. So there he is running in that dirt area back there. Or it's kind of moving slowly at that point. And he's already changed clothes. So where he ditched his, the weapon wrapped in a towel, he changed clothing at that time and likely just put it in his backpack. I mean, it does take him a while to get around here, so it's not terrible speculation that maybe he dumped some other items in a wooded area behind that house. So here he comes running off the screen. And then we also have this one. Apparently this is at 6:38 or so at a Dairy Queen. That means he's still in town. All right. So the wooded areas that are possible, I guess, are this one right here. They did have cones up over there. And then there's wooded areas there, and even over here. I guess if he's running back behind here, maybe that would be a location. But, you see him right here, and then he sprints down right there. So I'm not sure he had time to go to a wooded area up here. I think he would maybe be on camera unless he was like right over in this area. So it's possible he dumped something there, all right? But then the Dairy Queen is right up here, and that's the Dairy Queen that he was at. And people sent in images on the show last night. We were able to determine that that was the Dairy Queen. Took me longer than I'd like. See, the problem is when you're doing a live show, it's not as easy to figure stuff out live as it is when you're by yourself. Because you can just sit around and look at different things and absolutely verify something. When you're doing a live stream, you got to keep everything moving along and communicating, etc. All right, so it looks like we have all of the different locations. Now, I'll put Chuck Keeler's video in the description, so you might want to check that out because he actually has video walking around through the tunnel. He does it kind of quick, speeds it up, but he goes up the tunnel, up the stairs, and then out, and then he kind of shows that walk that we've always been talking about, that the direction that Tyler Robinson likely took to get onto the roof. And it turns out it's likely very, very accurate. Although I thought the door was over in this corner here, but it's actually right there. So sorry about that. All right, everybody. I want to say thanks for everybody for watching. If you get that like button, share the video. That would be awesome. And check out Chuck Keeler's video in the description. Thanks again, everybody. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.